Every human alive today, regardless of skin color or heritage, can trace their ancestry back to Africa. I'm Nikkolas Smith, and I'm the author and illustrator of the picture book, The History of We. Science shows us that the earliest fossils of modern humans were found 233,000 years ago in Kibish in Ethiopia. Every person on Earth can trace their ancestry all the way back to these ingenious people. These people laughed, cried, spoke sentences, danced just as we do. They were intelligent as us. They were us. Now, this is a fact that I learned about only at home. The textbooks that I had in school and the history books, oftentimes when we were learning about, this era of modern humanity, it totally skipped over thousands of years of ingenuity, and I really didn't understand why. And a lot of black kids, they hear this growing up that, humanity all comes from Africa. What I wanted to do was really just draw back to that moment that our history books completely looked over. What was it like for that first person to make art on cave walls? What was it like for the first medical healer to, create an antifungal cream out of a plant and heal somebody? What was it like for the first astronomers mapping the stars, the first explorers to cross seas? It required a lot of courage, curiosity, skill. I always had this idea that, one day I'm gonna make a book that really just visually represents this completely skipped over time in human history, because I don't feel like it's ever been accurately visually depicted. The history of we required the most amount of research that I've ever put into a book. Tons of books about the Paleolithic era, a lot of out-of-Africa research, the leading theory based on decades and decades of paleontologist research that shows that, modern humans started in Africa and then populated the world. Looking at migration patterns, where exactly we stepped foot out of Africa, where we went to next. Mary Leakey, she was one of the first paleontologists that I studied. It was really a full circle moment when at the end of this book, as I finished it, I found out from my publisher that this book was going to have to be verified and okayed by the Leakey family themselves. They looked at everything, okayed everything. They gave me the blessing that all the information in this book is accurate to paleontological history. And so I am so glad that I could have the opportunity to accurately set this visually, set this whole chunk of history in place in a way that for me it was missing when I was young. I had this kind of aha moment, which was part of the inspiration for this book. A couple years ago, I heard the story of this young black boy in the 50s. He didn't get to go to the swimming pool and swim with his friends simply because he was black. And there's actually so many stories like this throughout American history where young black kids either don't know how to swim or never got the chance to learn how to swim or afraid of the water. And I just wish that I could have told that kid and so many of these other kids, your ancestors were the first people in the world to swim. They were the first to invent the idea of swimming. I just wish I could tell them, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something. You can do anything. This world is yours. I feel like in a way this book is a form of educational justice. It's books like these that if they can be brought to the forefront, they can be a way that we can reclaim our shared history, that we can really talk about, where we all come from and not be ashamed of that, to talk about the fact that we do all come from Africa. I often create art that is a voice for the voiceless or silenced. And in this case, it was art not only for my own ancestors, but for all of our ancestors. We come from greatness. We come from ingenious people. And these people over 200,000 years ago, it is scientifically proven that they had the same anatomical structure as us. They had the same brain capacity as us. They were as intelligent as us. This is why this book is the history of we. It is we, it is all of us. If we listen to our ancestors, if we listen to what I feel like they're saying, in a way they're telling us we are all one family. It's part of getting back to us as one human race, as one group of collective individuals who at some point spread across this world and changed a little bit here and there, but at the core, we're all the same. The beautiful thing about the history of we is that this book really is science-based. It really is a scientific account of our history. The thing that I love about science, these anthropologists, these archaeologists, paleontologists, their job is really a fact-finding mission. They dig fossils and bones out of the ground and they document. It really isn't based on some sort of, belief system or religion. It is, let me pull this out of the ground and show you what I found. None of this can be misconstrued in any way. It is part of our history as it happened, as we scientifically have studied and researched and proven to be true. In a way, this book can be a form of, a tool for resistance, a form of resistance where, in the face of all of these book bans that are happening, really a kind of a forced injustice where books are only being taken off the shelves because they have a Black protagonist, or they talk about parts of American history that, might be sensitive, but they actually happen and they're important educational tools. Let's talk about everything as it happened. I think that is why this book was created. It's almost like a documentary of a very important chunk of human history. The History of We is my 10th picture book, but it's actually my first picture book that is 100% painted, hand-painted acrylic on canvas. Up until now, all of my works, my picture books have been digital. And most of my audience knows me for my digital paintings, my speed paintings, very sketchy, painterly, but digital paintings. For this book, I did start digitally, just trying to sketch my ideas out, visually get it the way I wanted it to look. And then from there, I painted on canvas what I had sketched out digitally. I started working on the manuscript for this book in March 2024. I think about maybe May, June, I was able to really jump into sketching out digitally how I wanted the book to look. And from there, I think it was probably about a very rigorous 2-month process of painting on canvas all of these pages. It was kind of a moment where I just, put myself into the studio, and from early mornings till late nights, going back to the basics of finger painting, hand painting, using sticks, leaves, brushes, scrapers, anything that I could find to really get that emotion of the first modern humans, the joy, the pain, the fear, the excitement, all of these things that were going on, in their minds, and as they're literally trying to advance humanity to get to the point where we could survive and last for another 100,000, 200,000 years. All of that I wanted to put into this book and on these canvases. My favorite painting, that's pretty difficult because there are so many that I love. I absolutely love the explorers painting. I love the astronomers painting. I might have to go with the cover of the book, Queen Mother or Mawa. I wanted to capture this Queen Mother figure, like the oldest known fossil of our ancestor. I wanted her to kind of be the face of this whole story. I put a lot of detail, a lot of effort into getting, her image right, peering out into the world to say, do you see me? Have I been written out of the history books? Can we come back to this point in history collectively? The fact that we all come from her. We all come from her. There is a connection there that a lot of times, and maybe systematically, has been broken, that should never have been broken, and I want to restore those bonds. And I hope this book can do that. I hope that it can be kind of like that reminder that we're all one global community of extended family. And maybe it seems like we're a little chaotic and going in many different directions, but now more than ever, we need to come together. We need to remember and remind ourselves that we are one family. There really is something very therapeutic about taking paint in your hand and just throwing it on a canvas and making something. It's usually something that I try to tell young creatives to just, get your hands dirty and make something. It really was a monumental undertaking to get all of these canvases into this one package. My business partner, who is also my manager, who is also my wife, photographed exquisitely all of these canvases, and I just love how we were able to get all of that detail from each canvas into every little square inch of this book. You can almost feel the paint, and I love how it came out. It's so beautiful, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.